Please subscribe my channel. The gala sparkled with influence, expensive drinks, and practiced smiles. I performed my part perfectly. My husband's closest friend stood next to me, paying close attention, clearly pleased, and a little too charmed by my daring behavior. I moved in closer than I needed to, laughed more openly than usual, and let my hand rest on his arm just long enough to cross lines. I thought true control came from small, hidden moves. Nobody seemed to notice, or at least that's what I told myself. Across the room, without me seeing, the CEO walked in quietly. He was my competitor in the company, a man who could read any meeting like it was written out for him. His gaze stayed fixed on us. People adjusted their conversations because he was there. Still, he said nothing and did nothing. He just watched. My husband was somewhere else in the crowd, busy and trusting as always. I took the quiet for ignorance and my confidence for safety. I didn't notice the change until the sound of glasses stopped and the low talking faded. When I finally glanced up, the whole room felt different. The real power had returned, and it no longer belonged to me that night. The CEO didn't break in or challenge anyone. He simply joined our group, nodded politely to others, and placed himself near enough to hear every word. I kept flirting, now feeling the strain but refusing to back down. My husband's friends started to look uneasy, thinking the CEO saw him as a rival. The CEO asked simple questions about loyalty, trust, and drive, smiling like a kind guide. Every reply made the air heavier. Then he looked at me and quietly asked how long I thought a secret could last under such bright lights. The laughter stopped instantly. I felt completely seen, even though he hadn't accused me of anything. My husband came over, picking up on the discomfort. The CEO greeted him warmly and praised his honesty, his good decisions, and his strong relationships. Those compliments hit harder than any criticism could. My husband smiled, proud and still unaware that he was being held up as the perfect example. I tried to say something, but the CEO lifted his hand gently, not to hush me, just to shift everyone's focus away. Control slipped further from my grasp. People leaned in closer. This wasn't a direct attack. It was a careful arrangement. The CEO spoke to the whole group, announcing changes to the company structure that would impact leadership roles, business partnerships, and personal reputations. He named people thoughtfully and on purpose. He stressed that character was the most valuable thing, that keeping private matters private was true strength, and that trust could not be compromised. Then he paused, looked at my husband's friend, and thanked him in front of everyone for showing how quickly temptation can reveal a person's true priorities. Confusion spread quickly. My husband glanced back and forth between us. Heat rushed to my face, but I couldn't find any words. The CEO went on to say that how someone acts in private when watched closely predicts how they will fail professionally. He then announced my husband's promotion, pointing to his steady loyalty and openness. The applause came, but it was uneven and surprised. My husband's friend stood frozen as understanding finally hit him. He hadn't been admired, he had been used as a warning. I remained quiet, revealed through hints rather than direct charges. The CEO never raised his voice, never pointed a finger, never named any wrongdoing. He didn't have to. The truth filled in all the empty spaces on its own. Everyone in the room understood without needing it spelled out. My husband turned toward me slowly, not angry, not puzzled, just carefully observing. That calm look scared me more than any yelling could have. The CEO congratulated both of us, thanked me for coming, and met my eyes with a steady, impossible-to-read expression. He excused himself, leaving destruction behind without leaving any evidence. Guests suddenly avoided looking at me. They found other things to do and kept their distance. My husband's friend muttered quick apologies that went ignored. The gala went on, but the excitement had vanished, replaced by careful politeness. I walked behind my husband toward the door, my heels sounding too loud on the floor. Outside, the cool night air met heavy silence. He didn't ask anything. He didn't accuse me. He only said we would talk later and drove away in his own car. That quiet response hurt far more than an argument would have. I understood then that real humiliation isn't noisy, it's being left alone. Inside, people continued dancing. Outside, I stood by myself, realizing that seeking attention when I thought it meant power actually made me weak the moment someone with real power chose to watch instead of step in. By morning, my phone filled with messages, some curious, others guarded. Nobody stood up for me. Stories about what happened had already spread without my side. Reputation travels faster than any defense. At breakfast, my husband read the newspaper calmly, quiet and distant. I tried to talk. He listened without interrupting, then said, "Holding back often shows more than admitting everything." He explained that trust fades quietly, not with big scenes. He wasn't furious. He had made up his mind. He told me boundaries would shift, space would increase, and things would become clear instead of assumed. No threats, no demands. That steady resolve frightened me more than anger. He left early for work, promoted, admired, unaffected. I stayed home, going over the evening again, seeing that the CEO hadn't destroyed me. I had done that myself. All he provided was the spotlight. True power doesn't announce itself. It watches, waits, and lets people reveal who they are. I had confused being noticed with being in charge. Real control, I learned, belongs to those who don't need attention to matter. Days went by, and the results appeared quietly. Invitations dried up. Phone calls became rare. My husband's friend wouldn't meet my eyes. The CEO never brought up the gala again. He didn't need to, the point had been made. At home, our talks turned short, careful, and deliberate. My husband stayed polite, but kept his distance and held firm. He wasn't trying to punish me. He was adjusting his life to protect it. I finally saw that forgiveness doesn't automatically bring closeness back. Once trust is damaged, everything changes shape. I tried to regain control with explanations, apologies, and openness. None of it worked. The balance had already moved. He wasn't reacting anymore. He was choosing his path. Watching him move ahead, so calmly felt like standing on the wrong side of a window. I realized true strength isn't about dominating others. It's about clear thinking without being cruel. The CEO had shown it masterfully. My husband did the same. I was left with full awareness and deep regret, learning too late that chasing attention in rooms full of powerful people usually ends with being quietly outdone by those who never had to flirt to matter. Weeks later, I still thought about the moment the CEO entered without a sound, already knowing how it would end. He never confronted me directly. He never embarrassed me outright. He simply gave the truth room to show itself. That quiet restraint shattered every false belief I had. I understood then that what left everyone silent wasn't the announcement or the promotion. It was the quiet that followed. My husband never raised his voice. He never insisted on answers. He simply changed course. Being done didn't mean divorce or loud drama. It meant emotional space, carefully measured respect, and permanent clarity. I learned that humiliation eventually fades, but being truly seen in that way lingers forever. I had sought attention through flirting and lost real influence. People talked about the gala for weeks. I stopped talking entirely. Some mistakes don't finish with arguments. They end with doors closing gently while the rest of the world continues on without glancing back. And when real power delivers a lesson that way, it never has to say it twice.